Hello again, everybody. This is Lindsay Kramer with syracuse.com and the Post Standard. Welcome back to another edition of SOS Spotlight Athlete of the Week. Today, we're lucky enough to be joined by one of the best basketball players in Section 3, guard Jacob Works from Liverpool. He's a senior who's just off to a great start, as is Liverpool. So he's joining us today. Jacob, thanks for joining us. First of all, your team is 6-1. Double A's are always tough, especially this year. Take us through a little bit how things are going for you and your team and what's been going right for you guys lately.
Coach Blackwell always tells us that it's a marathon, not a sprint, and we've just been taking it one day at a time. I still think that we're the best team in the section. We are deep, we have things that I feel like other teams don't have, and that shows on the court. Even in our loss to West Virginia, I feel like the type of leaders that we have, we learn from that and we push forward. And I think we're going to be good for the rest of the season as well.
Now, you dropped 32 a couple of games ago. That was your career high. I know that's be fun to do that every game, but the team needs different things from you in different games. What do you see as your role this year? Being a senior.
Of course, we got a young roster. We got 3 sophomores in our rotation, 2 juniors. So really, I just try to be a leader for them and just try to set an example for them on the court, whether they're down or whatever. I just got to pick their head up, and we got to keep going through a game. And even like if I'm not scoring, I kind of try to see myself as a do-it-all guy. There's games that we might have 2 other guys score 20, and I might get 12, but we still get the win because I have another impact on the game, and that's just something that I take pride in.
You mentioned being a leader. Coach Blackwell mentioned that as well. Obviously, as a senior, trying to be more aggressive, both offensively and defensively, doing what the team needs. Sometimes that comes natural for players as they go. Sometimes maybe not. Did you make a conscious decision from your sophomore to juniors to now your senior year to try and be more aggressive, or is that something that just came natural for you?
It's always something that came natural to me. My dad was always wanting me to score, and that's something I've been doing since I was 8 years old. It's really the other stuff that's come along for me in my journey here. The passing, the defending, the rebounding, and of course the leadership. That's all came together to the player that I am now.
Now, you mentioned your dad, Jovan. Of course, your family and the Central New York basketball community family lost a great figure in your dad over the summertime. You were saying before how your dad, of course, got you into the sport. He coached at Fowler, he played at Fowler. What are your earliest memories about your dad and how he got you into the game?
Kind of just even the memories that he wouldn't be so fond of him yelling in the gym at his players. I just remember that and how passionate he was about the game, and it just makes me want to have that same energy. I cannot thank him enough, and I still can't to this day for the love that he's given me into this game. And even just being my best friend through that whole ride is just something that I would never take for granted ever.
Now, sometimes when you're young or even when you get older, you focus on sports, basketball, that's important, that's life. And hopefully we don't get too many reminders about really the sad things in life. But to this perspective, since your dad passed away last summer, how have you been able to balance obviously your grief and memories of him versus going out and playing basketball, knowing he's not around to help you watch you anymore?
It's hard not to think of him when I'm playing. So I kind of do this for him. This is just what I know he would have wanted if this would have happened. It's what I know I have to do. First to put in all the work, all the workouts in the morning and all of the workouts in the gym at night. All of this just needs to be put into the effort onto the court. And that's what I try to do for him every time I get on there.
And I know that you keep them close to your heart and mind all the time before games. You say a little prayer, or you talk to him in your mind. How did that start, and what do you say to
him? Before every game, if you notice, before our starting lineups, I'll sit on the bench. I'll say something to him, kind of remind me of the little talks that we had before games when he was here. And that kind of puts a safe attitude in me. That kind of settles me down, everything's gonna be okay, and that he's still watching over me right now. And then I just point to this guy, just I'm addressing him. I know that he's still here with me in a way, and that motivates me to play good like I usually do.
It must be tremendously reassuring that your dad was loved by so many. He touched so many. I know it. If you want to, help remember all the good times, that probably is such a warm thing. That so many you touch so many people. The people all the time come to you and talk about your dad. Say, "Hi, I remember your dad." They come up with stories. I mean, what's the feedback you get even all these months later?
It's crazy because even today, when people still bring up stories about him, I learn something new about him every day. So some stuff that he didn't tell me himself. And it's cool to hear from other people, like kind of that his legacy still lives on. He's still being talked about, and that's honestly what I want for him. It's like the best possible case scenario.
Okay. Well, as a young person, it's good to have other interests. I know you're also on the volleyball team at Liverpool. That's not your primary sport, but you're certainly good at it. What about volleyball kind of fits into your overall picture? How did you get started, and why do you like it so much?
My dad always suggested volleyball just to stay more athletic, just have something to do during the fall. And in the start of my junior year, I tried it out. That year, I didn't really play much, but I learned a lot about the game. To come back to being a senior year, I was a starter, and then we go on to win the sectional championship this year. So it was a long ride, and of course, thank you for all my teammates for teaching me. But it was fun, and that's why it's like stuck with it. And, everything about it. Like even like the workouts that we did that weren't on the volleyball court, I just take that stuff to basketball and I use that to get better there.
Well, volleyball and basketball are very different, but it is important to have that winning, that taste of winning. How you mentioned the sectional title, how did that carry over from volleyball into your preparation for basketball, coming off such a great end to your season of volleyball?
It's just having the winner's mentality. It's kind of humbling when you go from a position where you're the leader and you know everything to talking about the younger guys to where I was, someone who didn't know the game as much, and I had to kind of get mentored on what to do and what not to do. So bringing that towards basketball, it kind of gives you a new outlook on the players that I talk to. So I kind of get a different perspective on what they think. If that makes sense.
Sure. Well, even apart from sports, it's good to have some things to take your mind off competition and training. You like to draw. Tell us what kind of drawing you like to do, how you got started, and how would you rate yourself as an artist?
Oh, geez. I used to draw when I was little, and I have ever since. Just even something when I was bored, like even like when I'm just sitting in my room, I'd rather draw than just sit on my phone, do something a little productive. I'd say I'm an okay artist. I don't want to like overrate myself or anything because I don't like really like to show my little drawings out to people. But I'd say I'm okay for where I'm at. I kind of taught myself, so it wasn't really anything that someone else like got me there. So I think I'm okay.
Do you have a specialty? Anything you like to draw most?
I even like honestly, the thing I like to draw most is the little stick figures I like to draw for my sister. She seems to enjoy those so much. So like that's another just inspiration to keep doing it because she loves them.
That's great. Now you're a year away, or less than a year away, a few months away from making a college decision and going to college. I know you've had some colleges looking at you. You haven't made a choice yet, but have you sort of narrowed down at all? What are you looking for in a college, both academically and basketball wise?
We have been talking to coaches, and me and my mother have been narrowing down our options. Of course, you think prep school will still be an option, but that's just something that we want to wait till after the season to look towards. But even academically, like we know like what we want to like. I know what I want to do now, so that's just helped us out even more in our decision.
What academic field would you like to pursue?
I would like to go into either sports management or journalism. Journalism, like even recently, there's this class that we've been writing in, and that's something that I've like took an interest in. So it's just something I even like want to pursue in my career after basketball.
Sure. Okay. Well, before you get there, there's a half a season or more of Liverpool basketball. We started by talking about how the team's done. When you look at the second half of the season and some of the competition, you're on a bit of a winning streak now. What sort of determines where you go from here, and how do you judge the rest of the season?
Of course, we know that it's going to be a tough schedule, and no game is easy in Double A. Any game we learned last year can be close and you cannot underestimate any of your opponents. So we're going to go in with the same attitude facing a bad team as we would face a good team. And we think that like we have the talent to beat teams that like we should. And that just comes out to teamwork. And I think we've developed that over the past 2 years, as I mentioned, because we have a lot of young guys. And that's just being channeled into what we're doing now.
Sure. Okay. Well, there's some work to do, and I know you're just minutes away from the start of practice. Coach Blackwell is probably wondering where the star player is, so we'll let you go. But we appreciate you joining us this week. Stay tuned next week, everybody, for another syracuse.com SOS Spotlight Athlete of the Week. Stay safe, have a good week, and we'll see you next week around this time. Thanks. Bye-bye.